Hello everyone, today I want to talk about one of the most important philosophers of today, Eckhart Tolle. Hello everyone, as promised in the intro, we're going to talk about someone who's particularly important to me and particularly important to the world right now, Eckhart Tolle. And as always, I'm going to start with a quote. And this quote is, "Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them." Eckhart Tolle. I'll repeat that. Rather than being your thoughts, and I talk about that quite often, and emotions, which can be volatile and not you, be the awareness behind them. What a great quote, and really sums up Eckhart Tolle's teaching. Now, Eckhart Tolle is like I said, an incredible philosopher. If you're not aware of him, I hope by the end of this video you pick up one of his books. But personally for me, I found two of his books in particular, The Power of Now and A New World, at a difficult time. I was going through a divorce. I didn't know myself. I was a collection of thoughts of who I thought I was. I really hadn't allowed my true, authentic essence to shine. And reading those books did one amazing thing for me. They created small gaps in my thinking for the real Brad, the essence of who I am, to come out, the divine spark, the real me behind me. And I'm eternally grateful for those books, and it's a privilege to be able to talk to you about Eckhart Tolle today, because it has meant a lot to me. I used to put the audiobooks on in my car and drive to a job I didn't like, and realise over time that the job I wanted to get for the career that I thought it would take me, and the money and the things that they would give me, were just thoughts. And they were consistent recycling thoughts. They're just thoughts, and thoughts aren't right. They're just thoughts. Sometimes we think, what would it be like to be, an astronaut? Now, that doesn't mean we'll be an astronaut. We understand that thought is a fiction. However, some thoughts we give a lot of credibility, and it can create quite a bit of pain. So, who is Eckhart Tolle? Eckhart Tolle is probably most famous for the book The Power of Now. It's an incredible book, but let's rewind a little bit, because before he was a famous author, he was born in Germany in 1948 and emigrated to Canada. And Eckhart Tolle was an aspiring student, and he was getting his doctorate degree in philosophy when the stresses of living in a big city, in an urban environment, and having parents that expected a lot of him, ultimately got to him. And I'm sure we can all relate to this story, where he ultimately had a mental break and was locked away for only a short time in a mental hospital. Left that mental hospital and had an epiphany. He basically broke down, fell onto the floor, and when he woke up, he no longer needed to think. And I'll explain that, because it doesn't sound like anyone can do it, but he lost the need for thought, which allowed him to open up and to really shine the Eckhart Tolle, the divinity behind that, and to be a conduit for it. So a lot of stress was applied. Pain was his teacher. He suffered so much that ultimately he had a break, and that break allowed him to think clearly. So what did he do with this new epiphany, this new satori? He sat on a park bench in Canada for years, homeless, not eating more than maybe one meal a day, and living basically hand to mouth. Now, not a very amazing lifestyle you can imagine, but he was incredibly happy. And the reason he didn't leave the park bench is he couldn't imagine being this happy, and he couldn't understand why he'd want to do anything else, because he was so happy. And I know that we all know that if we were happy, we'd stick with what we're at. And ultimately, as people would meet him on the park bench, he'd give them small words of wisdom. Eventually, it caught on that there's this bloke on the park bench, a homeless dude who's really smart. You should go talk to him. More and more people spoke to him, more and more people urged him to get his message out, and ultimately he wrote the book, The Power of Now. His teachings are very insightful, and they're particularly important to me because the stream of thought they come from develops from Christianity, Zen, and Taoism, which are three philosophies that I'm particularly fond of. However, Eckhart Tolle takes a really different spin on them, and a very modern spin. So the books that I particularly recommend are A New Earth and The Power of Now. And the teaching stream from that, like I said, was Zen, which is Zen is the concept of no thought, understanding the true nature without thought or labels. And Taoism, which is the concept of the way. So the way things are is a absolute beautiful circumstance in which every single atom of the universe has conspired to bring it about. So you should go with it, you should be happy with it, you should really appreciate every single moment of the way because it's beautiful. And your brain might tell you it's not. It might go, well, I'm not happy with today because it's cloudy, but that's just your brain. And your brain is not the way, it's not the Tao. Your true nature understands that this cloudy day can be just as important as any other day. So really getting to that core philosophy. The beauty of Eckhart is he draws on, like I said before, Zen teachings, teachings from the Buddha, teachings from Jesus, and applies them to modern day practice. So what are his core teachings? Well, you can break down his teachings into these core summaries. So his core teaching is the moment of now. That is, there is no moment outside the now. The past is a fiction and the future is a fiction too. The present moment is all you have and all you will ever have. And your life is condensed into this present moment. So appreciate and be there. Because if you're not in the present moment, you have no life. You can't live in the thoughts of the past and you can't live in the thoughts of the future. You must live now to be present, to have any life. And that's become very popular, and I believe he's the number one component of that understanding. Another part of his teaching is called the pain body, which I think is incredibly brilliant. Basically, Eckhart talks about the fact that our true nature is timeless, limitless, and cannot be hurt. But our pain body collects a lot of pain, whether it's from childhood or pre-childhood or during our life, and quite often it will explode into anger or frustration or tears. And anyone who ever knows heartbreak knows that it hurts here, so that's an example of the pain body. Or anyone who gets angry and gets tense and gets red in the neck, that's a concept of your body and the emotional state of your body wanting to release pain. And Eckhart talks about how to control that and understand that. He talks about a concept from Carl Jung, which is called the collective unconscious. That's another one of his core teachings, that we all have a consciousness that's all linked. And when one country is doing something crazy, the people within that country can be infected by the consciousness. And I believe this. I believe thoughts can go from person to person, and we see it all the time, whether it's fashion or, unfortunately, if it's things like racism, it can spread so quickly during the collective unconscious, which is something that Eckhart talks about. Now, the other powerful teaching that he gives, these summaries of his teaching, is called The Story of Me, and this is my favorite, I think, by far. So the story of me is the narrative of your life. The story that you drag along with you on a backpack and you walk around going, this is me, I'm Brad, I'm this age, I've done these things, and the world's treated me badly in these areas. Now you carry that with you everywhere, and it's the prism that you see the world through. So you can't see things unless it's through, well, it's a great day, but yesterday my girlfriend was, being hard on me, therefore, I wish she'd stop doing that. So you've just lost the fact it was a great day because you brought the story of the little me. You are the awareness of the little me, much more powerful than the little me. And if you get caught up in the little me or the ego, ultimately you live a life of pain. And he talks about that, and he talks about how to break out of those habits, which is incredibly important because, as I tell in my video, The 3 Monks, when you carry pain around with you, it comes with you. But pain has no power if it's not carried. Suffering has no power unless it's carried by your ego. And the minute you drop the suffering and the pain, each new day is you're reborn. Each new minute you're reborn. Everything's novel and new, and you can take action without the past dragging you down. So understanding the story of the me, or as Eckhart says, the story of the little me, is very powerful and helps us understand why we might repeat the same mistakes over and over again. So if you'd like to talk personally more about the teaching of Eckhart Tolle, or like me to explain the books a little bit further, you can book a Skype or coaching session. Other than that, the 2 books I recommend you jump on Amazon now and grab are The Power of Now. But if you feel like you've heard about Eckhart Tolle and you understand some of these teachings, grab A New World, A New Earth, because that one is really expanded on The Power of Now and is probably a bit more advanced. So I definitely recommend those 2 books. Thank you, Eckhart Tolle. I think that you are an absolute legend and you've brought so much to humanity, and I appreciate your teachings. They've taken me to where I am today. So thank you. I'm glad you'll get to be introduced to this author during your 1-year life transformation challenge. He'll be a big part of it, Eckhart Tolle. But other than that, I'll see you for tomorrow's video. Goodbye.